is, running it down on these niggas.
Sex, drugs, money, and murder, my nigga. You know how we get it, my nigga. Still be painting them pictures, my nigga. Ripping that raw and fucking your bitches. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. 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 Niggas, they never gon' hurt you. Niggas, they never will hurt you. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. Sex, drugs, money, and murder.
How the traps right, understand how to get that. Ran down on them niggas with a flip back. Knew I never seen another nigga live like that. I was still getting stacks back. Had to fuck around getting them packs back. Niggas.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Bullets Gotti, man. You already know what it is, man. So, this video that I'm about to do and what I'm about to discuss is the whole situation that's going on with R. Kelly out there in the federal penitentiary, where they saying basically it's been a hit put out on him and he's trying to get a release from prison. So, yeah, I know R. Kelly's been incarcerated since I think 2023. He was found guilty, and he's been in the feds before that. He got to NBC in like 2019, 2020. So he's been incarcerated since then. He had one situation where a dude assaulted him, and I think it was in Chicago. And he didn't have another situation now. And it was said that the prison staff sicked the dude on cows to get assaulted. And in this situation right now, they saying that literally that the prison is basically instructing dudes to murder him in the federal penitentiary. Not surprised that that's going on. Not surprised that basically the prison staff is doing this. This is why I say that this case against R. Kelly is very corrupt. And I told people, I said, if R. Kelly sold his masters in pub, he would not be in jail right now. He would be home. If he did what Lil Wayne did, he would be home. Because he didn't do that, he's incarcerated fighting for his life. Now, to hear that this type of threat is going on with he should be pardoned right now. Like, he should have, like, the same thing that Doug Christie and his wife got. R. Kelly should get the same thing where he gets freed. Because the head that somebody is trying to murder him in the prison, that shit struck is. This man should be free. He should be free, you know. And I'm glad that his lawyers is getting on top of it, and he should be free. You know, this man really should never been in jail anyway. It was a weak case. It was a he said, she said case. It's sort of like the Puff case. They didn't really have any strong evidence on him. They went off of the basis of a documentary. They didn't go off the basis of facts. They went off what they heard in a documentary. And what they're trying to do to R. Kelly is crazy. They're trying to kill this man, you know, and we don't want to see another Tory Lanez situation. Look what happened to Tory Lanez in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't want to hear another situation where, you know, somebody stab him up in there and the prison staff is not doing their job. Yeah, so the prison staff, you know, literally is doing what they want to do. They taking bets to get people knocked off. And that's crazy that this man could lose his life in the federal penitentiary. You know what I'm saying? They said the man was on a deathbed. And he basically said that he was paid to murder this man. You know, R. Kelly need to be free. You know, this man's life is in danger. You know, this man's life is in danger, and to have somebody life can be taken in the federal penitentiary and knowing that there's some corruption going on, knowing that somebody is basically putting money on this man's head to get him knocked off in there. You know, like I said, Tory Lanez had the same situation that just happened with him getting stabbed. You know, these men should not be in any type of, and this is real, they should not be in this type of predicament where their life could be in danger. You know what I'm saying? And this should never happen. You know? And I really think that it's just crazy. You know? So, and I'm going to be honest with you, right? R. Kelly case and Puff case just shows you that the justice system is very flawed. In Diddy's case, people are lying. People are just saying anything. People is just not even telling the truth at all. In R. Kelly's case, a documentary and people sitting up on the stand lying, that was crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? And that the justice system didn't do, they in at a bargain by looking at these witnesses and say, you know what, these witnesses is not very truthful, and we need to examine who we're going and we're picking as witnesses for a case. Because in R. Kelly's case, I remember reading it, and it was like the defense was catching them in lies. There was women that was stalking him. There were women that he wasn't even dealing with, that had no right to be on the witness stand, and they was literally being called to be witness on the witness stand. It was like the people was not credible. And this man, like I said, he has the grounds to win his appeal. You know, he should be pardoned. You know what I'm saying? Puff should be pardoned too, because there's no way in hell. And you know, Trump should do right. You know, I'm not the biggest supporter or biggest fan of Trump, but he was prosecuted by the same people that R. Kelly was prosecuted by. The same federal prosecutor that he stepped down, but it was the same one that indicted Trump, that indicted Puff, that indicted R. Kelly. And like I said, with R. Kelly and Puff case, it's like this. If R. Kelly would have sold his publishing, would have sold his masters, he would have never did a day in jail at all. But because he didn't do that, and because he stood his ground, they tried their best to make sure he was found guilty. You know, his life is in danger right now, man. People don't understand this. You know, this man's life is in danger. Like, they're trying to really harm this man. You know, he should not be in that penitentiary. He should not be in that facility. If it's an attempt on his life, the man should be released. Let him do his time on house arrest. Young Thug is doing his time on house arrest, while R. Kelly can't do his time on house arrest. You know? Like, why? Like, let's keep it real. This man is in jail for nothing that was proven. They couldn't prove that he trafficked anybody. They couldn't prove that it was a sex tape. They didn't have no sex tape. Michael Avenatti lied. That case should have been thrown out when Michael Avenatti was thrown in jail for extortion. You know, he should have never been in prison for something when we all know the case was weak. When we all know what common people with common logic sense could already look at it and say, nah, this is weak, bro. This case is weak. And people know that. You know? You know? It's weak. You know? So, when people made it, like, let's keep it real, right? Before the case, the federal case that R. Kelly caught, right? People forget he had a case in Atlanta that they was trying to say he was running a cult. When Fulton County investigated, they found no evidence of him running a cult, and the case got thrown out, right? Fast forward, in 2018, they about, let's mute R. Kelly after Bill Cosby got found guilty. They went on the attack on R. Kelly. Toure basically called a war cry on MSNBC after Bill Cosby was found guilty and said, I gotta find that audio too. I have to find that when Bill Cosby was found guilty, because Toure was on there saying, you know, and it was like, he said that, and it was so crazy how he said that. And because he said that on MSNBC, they went on Twitter and said, mute R. Kelly. The Mute R. Kelly turned into Surviving R. Kelly, the documentary that came out January of 2019. That documentary had Kim Fox started an investigation, right? Built a case. He already beat the state of Illinois when he won the case in 2008. So it was no grounds of doing a double jeopardy when the man was found not guilty. The feds come in late, like I think late 2019, and they federally indict him. And he also got arrested just like how Puff did. Remember, Puff got arrested, and he got arrested the same way. He was at Trump Plaza. Trump Towers, I mean. So, the case was so weak that it didn't make no sense that they target this man. It didn't make no sense that they target this man. Knowing that the case wasn't strong enough, knowing that they're going off the basis of people lying on a documentary, knowing that if this was so much true, that he so much did all of this that he's saying he did, why did they stay? It's the same thing like in the Puffy case. You know, they're trying their best not to give Puffy a mistrial when they know this case should end in a mistrial, because those witnesses is lying on this thing. And the same thing with R. Kelly's case. Those people lied. The case should have never happened. It should have been thrown out. Once Michael Avenatti was exposed for being an extortionist and trying to extort Nike, the case should have been thrown out. It should have never went. It should have never went anywhere. He went to jail off of the basis and the lies of people that just sat up there and said that this man did this and this man did that. You know what I'm saying? And now the federal facility, the staff is ordering a hit on this man, and his life is in danger. They're not basically trying to get this man about it. They're trying to kill this man. They're trying to kill this man. You know? You know, he should be released and let out so he can spend, if he had to spend house arrest, let him spend house arrest. But why keep this man in the facility for something to happen? That's corruption right there. You know what I'm saying? This is the same corruption that they did, like I said, with Tory Lanez. Bringing him back into jail after he was stabbed. So you want this man to be murdered in the prison. This is crazy. You know? It's crazy to me.
But we needed a new water softener, $2,200.
You know?
All of that. We need to
It's crazy.
service the driveway, $750. I paid for all that. We need a
You know?
lawnmower. It was $3,200.
It's crazy that these things is happening like that.
Darlene says she pays.
That off of a lie,
Wait a second. Darlene says she pays 50%.
these men is in jail.
That's not even close to being true.
Puff is fighting for his freedom, fighting for his life of a 30-year sentence he may get off of lies and slander. R. Kelly is fighting for his life and for his freedom because people is trying to murder him in there. And they're trying to deny him of freedom. Why deny this man of freedom? You know? This man's life is in danger. This is what I don't understand. His life is in danger. And people not seeing it, that this man's life is in danger. You know? It's crazy to me.
She's very good at what she does.
How people is not seeing that this is a corrupt situation, man. That is BS going on. And it's propaganda that's going on. You know? And I feel that how can people just sit there and say and not look at the injustice that both of those men are going through? It's an injustice. The waste of tax dollars. Because it's a waste of tax dollars. And not only is it a waste of tax dollars, but it just shows you that they'll make a person suffer knowing that they didn't do anything, knowing that they had a weak case, knowing that they're trying to deny. Bill Cosby, when he went for his appeal in the higher courts, the higher Supreme Courts, is the reason how he got released. But he would have died in there, man. He would have died in there if the higher courts did not get involved and release them out of there. Because this man was basically in prison for something he didn't do. And it was so good that he got released and he's able to be with his family. But imagine if it didn't. Come on. Imagine if the people in the higher courts didn't see the travesty and justice, that it was a political case, that they basically was lying and slandering this man. They were really going to let him sit in there and do 10 years. They really was. They was going to let him do 10 years in there. You know? They didn't want him to be on the street. You know? They wanted him not on the streets. But it is what it is, man. You know, this is travesty and justice. I hope R. Kelly gets freed. I hope he gets pardoned. I hope the higher courts see what's going on. That this man's life is in danger. That it's a green light on his head. Like, people not understanding. This man can get murdered in there anytime. His life is in danger. This man needs to be freed. You know what I mean? He needs to be freed. You cannot have this man sitting in jail off a lie, man. You know what I'm saying? They don't want this man. They don't want this man on the street. For what? What did he do? They didn't prove anything that he did. That's the thing I ask people. What did he do? They got him off the Mann Act. They didn't prove that he trafficked anybody. So, like I said, man, I'm praying that Kelly get pardoned. I'm praying that he gets freed. I'm praying, you know, if they do the right thing, they should do the right thing and let that man go. Let that man go, man. Let that man go. Let that man be free. Let that man be with his family. You know, enough is enough, man. You know what I'm saying? This is terrible that this man has to be sitting in somebody's jail knowing that he don't know if it might be his last, you know, and to see what happened with Tory Lanez. Come on, man. To see what happened with Tory Lanez and then to see what's going on in these prisons. Come on, bro. It's a danger. That's dangerous, man. People lose their lives in there, man. Come on, man. Ain't no place for people, you know, being in them prisons like that. Come on, man. It is what it is, man. Salute.